Daylight, my MVVs, welcome. Tadenikawo, they say, walked beside the father. That Ooni's joy was uncontainable. As you know, he held Tade's hands, and he was so happy as Queen Naomi returned for the 9th rituals. Daylight, the entire Ife palace witnessed a sight that brought both tears and applause. A divine scene so symbolic it left even the most hardened of hearts softened. On the day of Queen Naomi's, Iwe, the sacred 9th spiritual cleansing, okay? Something happened that no one expected, but everyone will remember forever. Young Prince Tadenikawo walked side by side with his father, the Ooni of Ife, during Queen Naomi's 9th, cleansing ritual, and the overwhelming joy it brought to the palace, okay? It is not a small thing. They say it was during the time that Queen Naomi was led into that sacred water. It was a very sacred ritual that Tade was, all over the father, walking step by step, even though traditionally they said Kabiyesi was not supposed to be there, but he insisted he needed to be there to see what is going on. The moment was pure magic, and the Ooni's joy could not be hidden. It was the reunion of a king, his queen, and their heir, a prophetic alignment that showed the spiritual and traditional core of Yoruba royalty. From the early hours of that morning, the palace had already begun to hum with a peculiar energy. The air was thick with incense. Chant from the palace. Priestesses floated through the halls, and elders lined the ancestral path that led to the, Oshun fountain right there inside the palace, the central site for cleansing royal women. Naomi, dressed in, flowing white from head to toe, emerged from the guest chambers with a grace that silenced the crowd. But even more shocking was what followed behind her. Tadenikawo, dressed in royal agbada of pure white and gold, holding the hands of his father. It was the first time in years that the kingdom had seen the three of them appear in public together like that in such divine formation. The king, the crown prince, and the queen spiritually reuniting, not just as family, but as destiny fulfilled. Though this ritual is a very sacred one, palace servants whispered among themselves, some even weeping silently. This is what the gods have waited for. One elderly palace guard said, "This is more than royalty, this is restoration." The Iwe Misan ritual is not a light affair. In Yoruba royal tradition, it is the 9th of 13 spiritual bathing and right done to re-sanctify a queen returning to the palace. It is believed to be the stage where the heavens confirm the queen's readiness to sit once again beside the king, not just in status but in divine agreement. The number 9 is spiritually significant. It represents wholeness, the closing of one chapter and the beginning of sacred renewal. It is during Iwe Masan that a queen symbolically shed the past and is clothed anew in honor and ancestral favor. And yeah, the focus of the day was not just the ritual, but the sight of the Ooni unable to contain his emotion. Daylight witnesses said that when the Ooni saw Naomi approach the sacred spring, he held back tears. But when Tadenikawo reached for his hands and gently took him forward to walk beside Naomi, he wept like inwardly. Yes, the Ooni of Ife, the spiritual father of the Yoruba people, they said you could see that he was almost like crying. He looked at Naomi like a man who had lost the treasure and just found it again. One elder whispered, the king's joy was not ordinary, it was ancestral. Some wives peeped from the inner chambers, their faces unreadable. The weight of what they saw could not be ignored. For the ceremonies they had attended, for the love they had prayed to receive from the Ooni, none had ever walked beside him like this. None had ever appeared before the elders with this, with his child, holding his hand in public honor. It was a clear thought that Naomi was not just back; she had been crowned in the spirit. As the drums of Iwa Misanda, as the ritual began to rise, the cleansing waters were, poured, sacred herbs were, stirred, and the old priestesses began their chant. Naomi stepped forward to kneel before the spring, and in that moment, Tadenikawo left his father's side and stood quietly behind. The mother, symbolizing the royal line, continuing through her. It was as if even the young prince understood the sacredness of the moment. And then something even more touching occurred. They only walked to Naomi and placed his hands, gently on her. That was what caused all the wahala that happened on that day of the ritual. They said Ooni was so happy, and that happens to be, one thing that has eaten up biased elders and the Olori so much. Going to bring you more update. Do not forget, these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.